Welcome to Hong Kong International Airport. Today I'm flying to London in British Airways Club Suite, and I will show you the experience every step of the way. It's a long flight, around 14 hours, so I'm curious to see if this seat is really worth the upgrade, especially for getting a proper night's sleep. And since this flight is operated by one of BA's newest aircraft, the Airbus A350, I'm even more keen to find out. Hi fellow travelers, welcome back to my channel, Ken Travels 360. I'm Ken, and today I'm reviewing my Club Suite experience on BA's Airbus A350. This is one of BA's newest jets, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how this experience compares. I actually got to the airport pretty early today because I'm also reviewing Cathay Pacific's The Pier's first class lounge. So let's get checked in, and then I'll catch up with you once again when we are inside the lounge. Right, luggage check-in, no drama. Time to go through security and immigration. Well, all the formalities done, so let's head to the pier. Well, and here we are, the Pier first class lounge. Let's head inside. To do it proper justice, I've actually done a full review of it in a separate video, so check the link above or at the end of the video if you're interested. For now, I'll just show you some highlights. The Pier First Class Lounge is one of my favorite lounges. It's got this calm, cozy vibe with lots of quiet spaces to relax. There's a proper dining room with full table service, a great bar, and even day suites if you need a nap. Okay, it's time to head for our gate. One thing to note, this lounge is on the opposite side of the airport to BA's departure gate. And you can't use the automated people mover to get back to that area as it's reserved for arrivals in that direction. So make sure you allow extra time when leaving the lounge to get to your gate on time. It was a bit of a walk, but we are now at the gate. The aircraft taking us to London tonight is an Airbus A350-1000, so it's still relatively new, having only entered service in December 2023. Personally, I really like the A350, as the cabin tends to be quieter and more comfortable on a long flight. Here we are. Just like on the Boeing 787-10 and Boeing 777, it's the same one-to-one layout here on the Airbus A350, so every seat gets direct aisle access. We've got seats 1K and 2K today, right at the front of the plane. And no, there's no first class on these aircraft, so this is as far forward as you can go. Let's take a look at the seat. After all, if you're wondering whether this upgrade is worth it, this is probably what you came to see. Next to the seat is a handy little storage cupboard, and inside you'll find a bottle of water, and inside it there's also a vanity mirror. I found this space perfect for stashing small personal items during the flight. And inside there's the amenity kit. We'll take a look at it later. There's another storage area nearby, where you will also find the touchscreen remote control for in-flight entertainment. Power-wise, you get a universal plug socket that fits UK, US and European plugs, plus 2 USB charging ports. Now you've got an adjustable reading light here as well, which is handy on overnight flights. The in-flight entertainment screen is a good size, around 17 inches, and BA usually have a decent selection of recent movies. The tray table is tucked away here. Press this button and it slides right out. The seat itself feels quite spacious. I'm 5'6" and I can't even reach the footrest when I'm sitting upright. The seat does also convert into a 6'6" fully flat bed, which I will show you later. The seat width is also quite comfortable at 21 inch, and you can lower the aisle side armrest to give yourself a bit more space when you are in flatbed mode. Then you got the seat controls here. There are settings for takeoff, landing, and just lounging around. And of course, flatbed mode. This being Club Suite, you've got a sliding door here for the added privacy. Once you're settled in, they will give you some welcome drinks. On BA, it's usually a choice of champagne, orange juice, and water. Naturally, I went for champagne. This doesn't taste as good as the champagne we just had in Cathay Pacific, the Pier First Lounge. Hot, very hot. Would just offer a hot towel. It's a small touch, but it's always appreciated before a long flight. Now let's take a look at the amenity kit. It's the familiar white faux leather pouch made in partnership with the White Company. Inside, you'll find the basics like dental kit, moisturizers, lip balm, eye mask, pair of socks, as well as ear plugs. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's a decent set for an overnight flight. Well, they also just handed out the menu just before takeoff. Now, there's quite a lot of interesting options today. For starter, there is a Chinese spice braised beef shank, but I actually prefer the cream of mushroom soup. Now, as for main course, there is pan-fried lamb, deep-fried halibut, and spinach ravioli. I think I will go for the lamb today. Yeah, and we'll look at the dessert later.
Welcome everyone. We will now demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft.
We're on the runway now after a long taxiing. Really dark outside and it's raining as well. So we have taken off and left Hong Kong. The takeoff today was a little bit bumpy because of bad weather in Hong Kong. But now we are settled nicely. It's just given us the pre-meal drink. It's much more chill, so it tastes a bit nicer now. Well, and I have chosen a movie to watch. I decided to watch Gladiator 2.
The dinner has arrived. I'm starting with cream of mushroom soup.
Very tasty. So it looks like there's some quinoa as well. I think it's quinoa or maybe couscous. Not quite sure. So the main course has just arrived and it's my lamb. It looks really nice. Now, I have chosen lamb before, and they could be a bit chewy. This broccoli looks a little bit overcooked. I think they has probably put this in the oven for too long. Look, the lamb is a bit overcooked. It's a little bit tough. Yeah, a bit chewy. Yeah, red meat like beef or lamb, it's always very difficult to get right. They come in frozen and then they have to be heated in the oven. And very often, more likely than not, it will be overheated and it will end up being chewy like this. So I asked for the dessert instead. This is tiramisu. Hopefully it's much nicer. This is good. So we just finished with the dinner. Honestly, it wasn't that good. The starter was fine, the soup, and the dessert was fine as well. But the main course, the lamb, was really chewy, really tough. To be fair though, after the really nice meal at Cathay Pacific's The Pier's First Class Lounge, I wasn't really craving for food that much anyway. And of course, the main reason to get an upgrade is not to have the Club World meal, but really to have the flat bed. So we're going to turn this seat into a flat bed now and see how much sleep we'll manage to get.
Before going to sleep, let me quickly show you the club kitchen. Here, you can help yourself to a selection of snacks throughout the flight, including crisps, biscuits, chocolates, and even things like yogurts. And if you fancy a drink, there's also water, beer, wine, and even champagne available for self-service.
If you've been enjoying these flight reports so far, please give it a like. It really helps the channel. And if you're into flight reviews and travel videos, consider subscribing to the channel. I've got plenty more coming your way. So I just turned the seat into bed mode, added a mattress topper and the bedding from the White company. And I've got to say it's actually pretty comfortable for a business class bed. So it's now time to say goodnight, and I will report back tomorrow morning to tell you whether I managed to get a good sleep. Well, good morning. I managed to get a solid 5-6 hours of sleep, and actually it was probably the best sleep that I've had in a business class seat in recent years. The flat bed worked really well. It was really spacious and I could turn without hitting any of the sides. The sliding door also helped with privacy and added to the fact that the seat has noise-cancelled fabric. There was hardly any noise overnight. It's perfect for sleeping on a 14-hour flight, so I'll call that a win. Right, this has been a long flight, but we're now just a couple of hours before landing, and the crew has started serving breakfast. There's usually a choice between a hot option and a lighter continental one. I'm going for the hot breakfast.
Now, do remember, if you prefer to have more sleep, you could decline breakfast and visit the arrivals lounge after you land. Then you can get freshly cooked breakfast there while maximizing your sleep on the flight. So breakfast has been served. I've gone with the full English. The quality was decent enough. Obviously not quite the same as a proper breakfast on the ground, but still enjoyable. And honestly, I thought it was better than the lamb that was served earlier in the flight. It also came with plenty of fruit and a blueberry yogurt, which was a pleasant surprise. Right, with breakfast done, the plane is now starting its descent into London. This feels like a good time to wrap up my thoughts on this flight and talk about whether the club suite is actually worth paying extra for. The service on this flight has been friendly and professional. Nothing over the top, but everything ran smoothly, which is really all I hope for on an overnight sector like this. So, is it worth upgrading to Club Suite on the A350? If you value privacy, a flat bed, and guaranteed aisle access, I'd say a definite yes. It's a solid product and a big step up from BA's older club world. Being able to get out without having to step over others or be stepped over, that's such an improvement, and overall the seat was also really spacious. Compared to our outbound flight to Tokyo Haneda, this has been so much better. On that flight, we had an old Club World plane and I barely slept on that flight.
Watch this video next to compare our experience with the old seats on a Dreamliner plane. I hope you enjoyed this flight review. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.